Hello and welcome to the application number 5 walkthrough for Upward Bound Integrated Math 1. Today we're going to look at how to, just some hints at least on how to solve the equations that were given or set them up if need be. In this first one, I think about what's happening to x. It's being multiplied by a negative 4/7. So in the solving equations mindset, I would be thinking about dividing both sides by negative 4/7. But in order to do that, when we divide fractions, we change flip. It really means that I want to be multiplying by negative 7/4. So that's what I'm going to do. On the left-hand side, those cancel out. I get that x equals, probably the best way to look at this is 140 times 7, and I can divide that by 4, and I get 245. Since there's a negative here, it's going to be a negative 245. And there we go. I'll let you do the second one. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy one-step equation. The only issue with it is that the numbers are a little bit larger than normal. For the next one, it says that a rectangle has an area of 32 meters squared, and we want to find the length if the width is 12. So here we know that the width is 12, and I want to find the length. So I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So if I know that the area is 32, I'm putting 32 in there. I'm trying to find the length, but the length is being multiplied by 12. So that's your equation. You want to solve it for L, and there's multiplication happening here. So you probably want to divide, but I'm going to leave the rest for you to figure out. The next one talks about a technique done in veterinary medicine. It says a veterinary assistant holds a dog and steps on a scale. So this is done when dogs are a little too wild to actually sit on the scale. But every time you go in for a checkup on the pup, you got to get, they always want to start with the weight, see how the weight's doing. The scale reads 193.7 pounds with the dog and the veterinary assistant, and we know that the veterinary assistant weighs 135 pounds. So we want to find the weight of the dog by writing and solving a one-step equation. Well, I know that the total weight given on the scale will equal the dog plus the assistant. And the total weight is this 193.7. And that's going to equal the dog plus the assistant. And the assistant weighs 135 pounds. So that looks like a good enough equation. Remember, equations are able to be solved when we only have one variable, and in this case, our variable is the dog's weight. You could have known what your variable is going to be by the wording of the question. It says find the weight of the dog. So that is how you would know that's what your variable is. Okay. And I'm going to let you, again, solve that equation. It's just a one-step equation. Should be pretty good. Number 5 says, suppose the length of a rectangle is 2x plus 1 and the width is 3x minus 2. Find the value of x if the perimeter is 38. So I know that perimeter, and they say a hint to draw a picture, so I'm going to do that. They say that perimeter, or we know that perimeter is when we add up all the sides. Okay, so if I add up all 4 of these sides, I know that it's going to be equal to 38. So perimeter is equal to 38. Well, what's the perimeter made up of? And it doesn't matter where you put these expressions, but I know one dimension of the rectangle is 2x plus 1. The other one is 3x minus 2. And then I get the same things on the opposite sides. 2x plus 1 over here, and 3x minus 2 down here. Okay, so the perimeter is, in terms of the problem, it's 38. I also know that the perimeter, in terms of my picture, is 2x plus 1 plus 3x minus 2 plus 2x. Oh, wow, we're having a hard time here, aren't we? So plus another 2x plus 1 plus another 3x minus 2. One thing that I think is a little bit helpful is if I combine like terms here. 2x, 3x, 2x, 3x, that's going to be 10x's. And then 1, negative 2, 1, negative 2 is going to end up being negative 2. So I have these two things that the perimeter equals. I'm actually going to set them equal to each other and say that 10x minus 2 is 38. So that gives us a two-step equation. I think it's pretty straightforward to go ahead and solve for x at that point, but I'm going to leave you there. The last one here says that 331 students went on a field trip. Okay, 6 buses were filled with, so 6 buses were filled. That's kind of a key piece of information. I guess it's all of that. And then it also says that 7 students traveled in cars. So whether they were able to drive themselves or their parents drove them, whatever it is. And then the total number of students is 331. That's another important piece of information. So I know that the total students is going to be equal to the 6 buses plus the, actually I'm not going to say that as total students, I'm going to write that as my 331. The 331 students traveled in some configuration of 6 full buses and 7 that rode in cars. Maybe the bus holds too many, that putting 7 students on a bus wasn't worth it, and we had 7 parents that were willing to go. So maybe that's how that all worked out. I don't know. And we'll see what we get from there. This one we can go and work out. We can go ahead and figure this one out, I guess. We're trying to solve for the number of students in each bus. And that's why, so it says how many students are in each bus. That's why I've denoted it with a B. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 7 from both sides. And over here I'm going to get, just to double check, 324. And that's going to equal my 6 buses. Really what that means is 324 of the students rode in buses. But I want to know how many fit in each bus. So I'm going to divide both of these by 6. And that tells me that 54 is how many fit in one bus. So 54 students per bus. All right. Good luck with the rest of the problems. I started most of them. I think that you can finish them from there. And just to give you a look at what we did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and we'll see you in class.